Good afternoon and welcome back. Laura and I are super excited that you're here. And just to catch you up to where we are, we've spent the last couple of weeks talking about how can you be more productive and effective at home? How can you pivot in the time that you're in right now? And then last week, we started down our path of delegating. Both Laura and I truly believe that the way that you can maximize your productivity and really, truly get more done is to be a strong delegator. Last week, we talked about what is it that you should delegate, or the flip to that, what should you be doing yourself, because everything else is the stuff that you should delegate. And if you missed us last week, I don't know where you were, but if you did, the link will be in the comments below so that you can jump back and see that video. Today, we're going to move into who should you delegate to, even if you have no one to delegate to. We're going to dispel that myth totally today. But first, who are we? I'm Lisa Crilley Mallis, and I work with amazing business owners who are constrained by time. They just recognize that they can't get everything they want to get done because they run out of time each and every day. And so I help them figure out how to navigate through that so that they can be better and impact more people with the work that they do.
And I am Laura Licursi, and I help attorneys, small business owners, and busy professionals go from busy to productive with our virtual assistant services. And I also help virtual assistants thrive in the VA space. I offer a lot of resources for them, and I have an online course that teaches them how to build their own virtual assistant business. So glad to have you guys here with us today. So we're going to talk, like Lisa said, about who you can delegate to. And a lot of times people think they can't delegate, or they really don't want to delegate, because in the short term, it's easier and faster for you to just do it yourself. But it's really short-sighted if you think about it, because if you are continually the one doing everything, you just can't grow beyond the amount of time that you have to get it done, right? Because there's only 168 hours. Is it 168 hours in a week? Yeah, right? And you can only do so much in that time. So it's really important that, to understand that, yes, it is going to take a little bit of time up front, but how much more productive your life and your business is going to be once you get those tasks off your plate.
Absolutely. Think about all the things that you don't have time to get to. Once you're delegating some of the stuff off your plate, like, you get to those now. So here's where we are. Last week, you had two piles or two lists, depending on which process you used: the things that you do and the things that you can get rid of to somebody else. And now it's time to talk about who are you going to get rid of these to. I like to do this process a little backwards when I work with my clients. So instead of taking the task and figuring out who it could go to, I start to look at who are the resource people that you have around you, and then figuring out which tasks could that person or those people work on well. So start with the people first, because there's a thing about trust and knowing skill sets of people. Start there, then match them to the tasks. So I'm going to give you a category, and don't prejudge the categories. Just keep your mind open to what's possible. So one category to look for are people who are retired. And I want to give you two quick examples on this. One of my clients had product at a different location than where her office is. She's in print marketing, and she recognized that she was taking the middle of the day to drive to a warehouse to pick up paper from the printer and then deliver it to her clients. Not her zone of genius, not the best use of her time. So instead, she hired someone who is retired to just be a courier. He works maybe 6 hours a week, but that's 6 hours she's back in her business and the flow isn't interrupted. And if you remember from one of our first videos, it takes over 23 minutes to put yourself back in the zone. She doesn't have to leave the zone to go pick up paper and deliver it. The other one I referenced last week, she is a mother of four, financial advisor, and she has 4 kids home right now. And she actually hired a retired teacher to continue their homeschooling. So think of retired. Who is in your network that's retired that has a skill set that you could use, and then match them to some tasks.
And so, for example, when we have people that come to the agency and we have that initial consult call, and I'm trying to think about who do I have on our team that can work with somebody. There's some things that I take into consideration too. So these are some things that you can think about yourself. So one of them is, do they need an implementer? Because sometimes people come to us and they are really organized, right? They know exactly what they need done. They just need somebody to do it for them. That's an implementer. That's somebody who likes to just check off a list and get things done. And then you've got another category where, they're the big picture person and they're completely disorganized, right? Like they know where they want to go, but they just really don't have the organization to get there. So when we have somebody like that, I need somebody who is going to be able to put structure to somebody's chaos, right? So I need to be able to put that type of person in place. And another big thing that we look at too is, I think it's really important all the way around, is hiring for personality and character, and then you can train for the skill or the specific task. Now, obviously, there are some things that you need to consider in that type of situation. If you're looking, your website's crashing, and you don't want to just pick somebody who you think is nice and hope that they learn it. Like that's something that you obviously need to have somebody that's experienced in. But I'm talking for the long term, you really need to take a look at what kind of person am I and what kind of person is going to best support me, and then, be able to fit that person to the role.
And to go off of that idea of, am I looking for someone who's an implementer? Am I looking for someone who has structure? The next category that I often have my clients look at is interns. And when you're looking to bring an intern on board, definitely think about, what are the qualities I'm looking for in an intern? Typically, you have the option to choose from a number. At least I know my clients have had a number of interns that they interview before they choose the one they're going to bring on board. And so think about, what are the pieces? So here's an example of 2 clients and how they used interns. One was exactly to build structure. He had a process that he used in one way in his business, and he wanted that process adapted to a different part of his business, and he was doing it. The second part of his business, he's in mergers and acquisitions, and he was doing all this stuff, but he had no structure around it. Every day he would just jump in and go, but yet the processes were so similar. So his intern was able actually to develop the second process based on the first. A second example where an intern came really handy was one of my clients who owns a chiropractor service. He hired the intern to implement the social media policy. Or policy, like social media stuff. That is policy, but to make sure that they got the post out and implement the plan. That's the word I was looking for, the social media plan, to implement those pieces out there. So interns are another great source to delegate to. What else do you see in the VA business?
So one thing that we see a lot too is people coming to us looking for, which internally we call a unicorn VA, which, means that they can do just about anything. They're both left brain and right brain. And we know, like, usually you have one dominant side to yourself. And typically these are going to be, like, we work with a lot of speakers, business coaches, and they need a wide variety of tasks done, right? So they might need that real detail-oriented person to do the administrative side of things, but then they also need a creative person to help with other things, like maybe it's social media, or maybe it's graphic design, or whatever it is. But they typically come to us wanting one person to do all of that. And one thing that's really important to keep in mind is always, I take what is that one to three main things that you really need done, because that is the person that you want to match to that. Okay, that, like those consistent things that are they always remain the same, and those are the things that are really going to help drive your business forward, because the other parts are things that somebody can learn to do, or like in the case of whenever we're working with somebody like that, we have that virtual assistant just reach out to other people on our team. So we have them reach out to our creative side and, you know, get that flyer done or help with social media or whatever it is. But you just want to have that one thing, because what I've seen happen is, you know, sometimes you start working with somebody and you're like, well, I think I'm going to change this and I want to go this direction. Well, if that's completely out of that person's wheelhouse, you're kind of setting them up for failure. So, you know, it's really having that good understanding of what is the core tasks that I really need done and that I need help with. And, you know, choosing the person to work with, you know, on a regular basis for those core tasks, and then being able to offload some of maybe the smaller, you know, less important ones, or giving them an opportunity to learn them.
That's what I love about working with you, because you have so many different VAs. Like even just now in our conversation, you've talked about, okay, we have VAs who can implement. We have VAs who can help think big picture. We have VAs who can help with structure. And the VA that you get, though they aren't a unicorn, they almost can be as if they are.
Yeah.
Because they can tap into all those other VAs.
Right.
And it's no additional work for me, because the VA is the one reaching out to get the creative stuff done if she's the implementer. So far, what we've talked about are ways that you can use VAs, so many ways, and there's more to come. We've also talked about so far retired individuals, interns, and now I'm going to tell you something that's going to seem so common sense. Your staff. For those of you who have staff, you are probably underutilizing your staff. People come in, they get into their jobs, they get comfortable with what they're doing, and we tend not to look outside of that very often. And then the extra stuff that comes in, the business owners take it on, and typically, instead of thinking, oh, who could do this or who could do that? So one of my clients owns a mental health practice, and she has a number of admin, and she was still doing like managing the admin. And what she realized was that she had someone who could be her head admin person. She just needed to help skill up a little bit and then delegate all that managing of that group to that one person, which took off like probably 5-6 hours a week off her shoulders. And it went to someone who had the excitement to do it, had the knowledge already, was like Laura said, already was a great person, and just needed a little bit of extra training to be able to manage other people. So I encourage you to look at your staff. And coming back to the chiropractor office, I had an intern who was implementing the social media program. Well, he also used to be the one who created the social media program, yet he had someone else on staff create the program. The intern implemented it. So when we talked last week, we talked about your zone of genius. What is it that's just you, that only you can do? He was doing all the social media, and he was hesitant to delegate it out because he didn't think one person could do it. Well, in his case, 2 people did it. One created the concepts, one did the implementation. So always remember that the task you're looking at probably can be broken down into multiple pieces.
Right. And I think a lot of times, that's just something that's overlooked. You know, we just think that we think of everything as a whole, where if you break it down, you know, there could be people that you are currently working with that are, like Lisa said, are on your staff that can maybe do different parts of it. So you always want to look at that and, you know, see where and ask, right? Like that's all you really need to do is just ask, like put it out there. Like who's interested in doing this or learning how to do it?
Right. You know, when we're talking about breaking things down, I think about the story Mike McAllowitz told when he was here in Cleveland a couple months ago about there was this painter back a long time ago. I will be honest, I meant to grab the details and forgot. So just take my word that this is a true story. There was a painter a long, long time ago who painted like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of portraits. And he was known for being the painter who painted the most beautiful portraits and the most portraits ever. So he like did hundreds where other people did like 5 in a year. And what he did was he recognized that the only piece he needed to do on the portrait was the face. And everyone else could do the background and the clothing. And so they had like 4 backgrounds. He would say background 3 goes with outfit number 7. And they did all that together. And then he just did the face. And so when you're thinking of delegating, think about, if I can't delegate the whole task, even if to multiple people, what is the one piece that I need to keep myself and to delegate the rest? Like, what's your version of the face?
That's a good one. I mean, I would never think that you would do that, you know, especially like when it comes to a painting. I wouldn't even think about that.
It's even better if I could remember the name of the painter and like what era he was in, but just take my word, it's a real story.
Yeah. And I mean, even just to speak to, you know, the situation that we're in right now. So many of us have people home that weren't home before, right? Or maybe you're home and you weren't home before. Like one thing that I'm doing is offloading more chores to my son who is in high school and he can do more. My daughter who's home from college, I've been giving her stuff to do that, you know, it might be stuff that it's not, you know, it's not on the forefront of something that I have to have done, but it's something I've been wanting to do. All I did is I put a Loom video together for her, showed her exactly how to do it. And she's actually doing it right now. So, you know, you can pull from people, you know, maybe you even have, you know, parents that are stuck in the house right now. Is there something in your business or even in your personal life that they could possibly help with? So I think it's just being able to look at the whole picture and see, you know, what little parts can I get rid of and can I delegate to somebody? Because you're also giving them something to do right now. Because let's face it, I think some people are going maybe even a little stir crazy right now. So,
well, and I think to your point, my mom used to do my QuickBooks for me, and I've since moved those somewhere else. However, she does all the research on our electric and our gas to make sure every year when it's up for renewal, we're getting the best price. I would drive myself crazy looking at apples to apples comparison all over the place. And she does all of that for me. I now need to think about some more things I can send her way because I do know she's going a little stir crazy. So that's a good one, Laura. Thanks.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm thinking as we're talking about, especially in this time right now, is so many people have been hearing, oh, this is a great time to learn a new skill. Like I should go learn a new skill. And I 1,000% agree. This is a great time to learn a new skill. And it's also a great time to recognize what new skills you don't need to learn that you can delegate out at a low cost and make it easy. So for example, my client I was telling you about earlier hired the courier to run some of her print stuff around. She's like, this would be such a great time to learn all this extra fancy stuff on video editing. And I was like, yeah, or you could get a specialist, which is this next category. You could get a specialist on Fiverr who will edit your video for $5. I said, so you decide, you know, where do you want to invest that time? Like if learning video editing has been this deep-seated desire, then absolutely. But if it was just to increase, you know, a little bit of skill set in your business, there's probably a less time invasive and less monetary amount that you can do. And just go ahead and look for specialists for areas of your business versus potentially learning the skill set. She's actually going to take the time that she was going to use to learn video editing. And instead, she's learning a platform that a lot of her clients are on. That she knows about 40% of now, and she wants to up that to about 80%. So way better use of her time. So think of specialists too when you're looking to delegate.
Right. And I think to that point too is if it like, this is going to sound funny, but I have always wanted to know how to make an animated video. I just have always wanted to know how to. I have people that can do it. I mean, we do it for clients, but I wanted to know myself, like, because it's kind of complicated. And I had bought this program last year. I've never had time to look at it. And I'm like, you know what? That is going to be what I am going to learn in the next month here. I am going to learn how to put a video together by myself, like an animated video. So if it's something that you're doing for fun, even, take the time to do it. But if it's really something that like, that's not going to drive my business forward, that's more for me. So if it's something that, is really going to drive your business forward, something that you need consistency with, outsource it. If it's something you want to learn how to do just for fun, and then you can do it for your business, that's kind of how I've been looking at it.
Because it's so easy, I think, to fall into that shiny object thing right now.
Yeah.
And everything. Like I, for millions of years, or like 10, have wanted to learn handwriting analysis. Like this is probably the time to do some research and figure out how to learn that. Like this would be the perfect time. It has nothing to do with my business at all. In case anyone was confused about what I do for a living, that would not be it. But I think it would be I think it would just be cool.
Yeah. So the other thing, we like to give stories to you at the end about how our, people have been able to pivot through this. But I think it's also if you're not in a position that you have to pivot, or you can't, okay, because there are just some industries that for whatever the logistics are, they can't pivot, right? This is a good time to think about those additional revenue streams. And I always think about, I even think about people that have a brick and mortar store, because I've talked to people that have said, I can't sell my stuff online because everybody comes into my store. But you've never had to sell your stuff online. So now is really the time to try to figure out, what do I need to do that? Can I optimize what I have? Or is there another revenue stream that I can add to my business? So for example, for years, I have always been getting, tons of inquiries, like, how can I start my own business? Like, how can I start my own virtual assistant business? So a couple of years ago, I created an online course, because that for me is something that it's completely relatable to my business. Obviously, I've been there, done that. And if I can help somebody else do it and add another revenue stream to my business, that's, they say you need 7 to be a millionaire, right? So let's start adding revenue streams. And, you just have to approach it as it's like another little artery of your business. So it's still going to take the whole planning and, all of that fun stuff to get it up and running. But now is a really good time to take a look at your business and see, what other ways can I add to it? What other revenue streams can I add to it? One other one that I've just recently done that's in beta testing right now is, we get clients that come to us that are not a fit for the agency. They just they just, for whatever reason, it's an agency is not the answer for what they need. And I really wanted some place to send them to. So what we're in the process of doing now is building this membership area where virtual assistants can promote themselves. And then people looking for virtual assistants that, maybe an agency isn't the right fit for them, can go and find them and, match. We call it matchmaking. But so that, again, would be another revenue stream for me. So if one part of your business is experiencing a lull, hopefully you can get these other ones up and running, so you have, multiple revenue streams.
Ooh, I love what you're doing with the matchmaking.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, and as we talk about businesses that are typically in person, one of my clients owns a yoga studio. And as we were talking about, okay, now what? She's like, well, I've always wanted to explore going online. She goes, so I guess we're going to do that. and she is, and it's fantastic. And what she's recognized is that she has the capability to add an additional revenue stream on the other side when we get there, because now she's going to be able to live stream her live classes. So people who don't live locally will be able to come to her classes easily, which is something that she hadn't even thought of offering before. And all the classes she's offering now, she can record, because she has the option to record just her with none of the participants. And she can put them into a membership site where people can buy, for X number of dollars, a certain type of yoga course, and over again. And she's not doing anything additional to create that vault of content other than hitting the record button right now. Like, she's already developing the content in her day to day. So what we found that was really cool about this was, there's that income stream thing, but there was also the idea that she jumped in, had no idea what she was doing, and is figuring it out as she goes along. And then she started to get a little stressed, which is not the part of the success story, but this is the real life portion of it.
Yes.
Starting to get stressed because now she's got all these balls in the air, all this stuff going on. And she recognized, we stepped back, she created some processes, and she realized that her zone of genius is teaching, and she really doesn't want to have her hands in the rest of it. And so she's brought in, actually, her daughter is in high school. Her daughter's helping her with the online stuff, and her husband's helping her handle the online stuff so she can just do what she does best, which is huge. So those are our 2 success stories for you today.
Yeah.
And we want to share what's coming up. We will still be talking delegating in the next couple of weeks. It's my favorite topic to talk about. It is one of Laura's favorite topics to talk about. So you are getting pretty much a mini diploma in delegating. Just mini, very mini, but you are getting tons of knowledge. So we will move into how in our next couple sessions. We did what, if you missed it, I beg of you, click the link, go back, find the other video. Today we talked about who, and we only gave you like 5 or 6 categories of people to think about who to delegate to. But if you see scrolling across the bottom of the screen, there's a bit.ly link there. Impactive Delegate, the I and the D are capitalized. There are over 20 resources available for you on who to delegate, plus additional information on what and additional information on how than what we're covering. So just click in there, grab it. It's a free resource for you. Lots and lots of ideas on who you can delegate to. So we're going to hit how the next couple of weeks. We want to know, what are your questions? What are your comments? What do you want us to talk about? Whether it's delegating or something else, because we're going to do this for a while. We're going to do this till we cut out to the other side. So our next one is on the 15th at 12:30. So I hope that you will join us.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.